The realm. Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agree to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon video. In this video, I want to have a look at the new interview with Emilia, who I know all of you remember as the legendary Mother of Dragons, Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. In her new interview, she discusses many different things I know you'll find very interesting. I'm sure many of you have been wondering if Emilia has been watching HBO's new Game of Thrones series, House of the Dragon. As someone who will always be seen as the most beloved member of House Targaryen, I know there's many fans who have to be wondering how she feels about this new show that's focusing on the family she helped bring to life so wonderfully in the original show. First, I will show you what she said about watching House of the Dragon. Unfortunately, the audio isn't very good in the video, so I'll show you what she said, then I'll say it again just in case some of you weren't able to hear it.
I wanted to wait till they're all out so I could watch them all together. So it hasn't happened yet. But Miguel's watching is an incredibly good friend of mine, and he was the creator of the show. And I'm duty bound, if anything, to watch it for him. I'm sure it'll be amazing. It looks incredible.
Alright, so as you can see, Emilia said she wanted to wait until all the episodes have been released before she begins watching the show. Game of Thrones veteran director and House of the Dragon showrunner Miguel is one of her dear friends. Now, since they're friends and Miguel is helping make the show, Emilia feels she must watch it out of love for him. Not that she wouldn't watch it anyway. I'm sure she's dying to know what's happening in House of the Dragon, although I'm sure it would also be hard to watch considering how this show and its characters are so near to her heart. I'm guessing her watching the show would be like riding one hell of an emotional roller coaster. She ends it by saying she is sure it will be amazing because it does look incredible based on what she's seen so far. Now, there was another very interesting thing she said that I wasn't able to find in the video, however, I did notice there were several articles written about it since this interview was released. It must be in another video I haven't been able to find. Another thing she mentioned was how she actually feels about Daenerys' ending in the Game of Thrones finale. As you can see in this headline, it says Game of Thrones star Emilia doesn't think Daenerys deserved her fate. She said, "I'm on her side." One of the most divisive aspects of the final season of Game of Thrones was the death of fan-favorite character Daenerys Targaryen, and Emilia has now addressed her fate. Let's be honest, this is something I have been saying for many years now. All of us knew deep down, Emilia did not like how Daenerys went out in the show. If it wasn't already obvious in her interviews after she was done filming her scenes, or if it wasn't obvious when they did the table read during the Game of Thrones documentary, then let it be known now. Emilia did not like how the Game of Thrones writers did the Mother of Dragons dirty in the end.
We see Jon with his hand still on the hilt of the dagger he just lodged in Dany's heart. Her strength leaves her and she collapses to the marble.
Have you shot your final scenes yet, and are you happy with how things ended? Yes. She didn't say yes. You didn't say yes.
Best season ever!
Emilia also said, "I still think Daenerys did nothing wrong. It's not fair that Jon gets to live." Now, what is also very interesting is what she says next. Emilia goes on to say, "I want Daenerys with him, with Jon. They could go to family therapy and fix their issues. Daenerys is a very hopeful character. She has a lot of hopes and I wish that she was able to achieve that." I find this very interesting because, as you all know, it was Jon Snow who murdered Daenerys in the Game of Thrones finale. It just goes to show you how much Emilia believed in Daenerys' love for Jon. She wanted them to live happily ever after. Well, at least as happy as you could be in the Game of Thrones universe. This article also says, although Daenerys certainly appeared to be dead as a doornail, we have seen characters resurrected in the HBO show. Is there any way Daenerys could show up in the new Jon Snow series HBO is developing? The Secret Invasion star admitted that it's highly unlikely, but she did add, "Never say never." Now this sounds very different from what she said in her last interview about the Jon Snow show. In the last interview, Emilia said she thinks she's done with the Game of Thrones universe, but now she's saying, "Never say never," which means she's now open to the idea. For those of you who might not know already, Mr. Harrington, who was the actor for Jon Snow, and HBO are in the works of developing a Jon Snow show that focuses on his life and adventures after the Game of Thrones Season 8. This has been confirmed not only by Emilia herself, but George R. R. Martin on his Not a Blog as well. If you have been watching my videos, then you know I've been saying this would happen also. I have been saying over and over again that many of the Game of Thrones actors will eventually want to come back to Westeros once they realize how much they actually miss working on the most successful show in history. It's only a matter of time before we hear all of the living actors say they would be willing to come back to Westeros again. Obviously, the Jon Snow actor is making his own show. His friend from Game of Thrones, Samwell, said he would also be open to the idea. Even Brienne said she would love to come back to the Game of Thrones universe. And Maisie Williams, who everyone knows as Arya Stark, said the same thing. Almost all of the main characters who were alive at the end of Game of Thrones said they would work with HBO again, so this opens the door for so many other show ideas. Now let me show you what Emilia also said about the Jon Snow show. What she said makes me think she's seen some of the videos about it. You'll see what I mean.
And second, would you ever return to the Game of Thrones universe and say a Jon Snow's movement spin-off?
I mean, it's just difficult because, spoiler, Daenerys died. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that would be a bit, like, ghouly for me to... Maybe it would be a White Walker, you know what I mean? Like, it'd just be like, yeah. You never know. I mean, we don't know where her body's at, so...
Or go back to life. I mean, this show has done some incredible things.
Exactly. Or, like, the dragons help me out, I don't know.
Ooh, the fire revives you. Or
Exactly. Exactly.
That's a dragon, right?
Yeah.
As you can see, she at first says it would be difficult because Daenerys died in the end, but then she does start thinking about how it could be fixed. She jokingly said maybe she could show up as a White Walker. Then she said a little more seriously, you never know, we don't know where her body is at. Maybe Drogon could help her out. Well, this is exactly what many of us have already been thinking. Many fans believe, and hope, Drogon will fly her over to Volantis where Kinvara is located in hopes of her resurrecting the Mother of Dragons by way of the Lord of Light. This is certainly one way we could see Daenerys in the new Jon Snow series. After the massive success of HBO's new show House of the Dragon, I'm sure they're thinking of ways they could revive Game of Thrones in some way. The fact that they're even developing a series centered around Jon Snow lets us know they're interested and open to the idea of resurrecting Game of Thrones as a whole. I think as soon as the first season of House of the Dragon is over, we will start to hear even more about the development of this show. Making Game of Thrones again, in some form or fashion, would be even more successful than House of the Dragon. There are millions of fans who are ready to see the original show get a better ending. I just hope HBO finds a way to get it done. How many of you think this is a bad idea? And how many of you would love the thought of Jon or even Daenerys showing up in the Game of Thrones universe again? Whether we actually like the idea or not, I know every single one of us would be watching either way. So leave me some of your thoughts down below. As always, I want to thank all of you for watching this video. I hope all of you have a great day. I will see you again very soon. Bye.